think about? Minerals. What's another way that we think of minerals? Ions. Okay, our electrolytes. So these help to affect the electrolyte levels in the body. How about this one? Glucocorticoids. What does it make you think about? Sugar. Okay, because that gluco makes you think about the sugar, glucose. Yes. Is it good? Not necessarily. Because with the endocrine system, well, this and the nervous system, so pretty much the body as a whole, we're going to have this thing called stress. How many of y'all stressed out? Okay, about half. Okay. Is there good stress and bad stress?
I don't think so.
You don't?
I think they're all negative.
Yeah.
They're all negative? Yes. Okay? However, which one tends to last longer? Good or bad? Bad seems to have a longer lasting effect. You know, the good stress, a few seconds and you're over it, right? Okay? Because you got to move on and think about something else. Anyway, bad stress just seems to linger, like bad relatives. Now, this is what we're going to find. We're going to have this system of stress, and we're going to see that this is not going to always be great, okay? Because what we're going to find is, you know, it can suppress the levels of glucose in the blood. It can affect the immune system. We can see that there's going to be an effect on the fat, the proteins, the carbs, that sort of thing within the body. Once we begin to play that game, all right, once we begin to affect the utilization of, say, for example, nutrients in the body, how did I say that the body wants to use nutrients? It wants to use what first? Sugar, our carbs. What does it want to use second? The fats or the lipids. And what will it use third, but we really don't want it to use? The proteins. Okay? So the stress that we can place our bodies under, okay, is going to affect all of that. And a prolonged stress, you ever hear somebody tell you, I used to wonder about this, okay, when I was growing up, and you know, as a young person, and maybe like your teens or your 20s, you know, you'd be taught, you know, somebody would be like, you know, hey, how are you? Oh, well, you know, doing okay. I'm just a little stressed out. And the older people that I would talk to, they'd always have the response of, girl, you better watch that stress because it'll kill you. Ever have anybody tell you that? It's true. It's true. But we'll get to that. So these hormones of the adrenal medulla synapsing with the sympathetic nervous system. So therefore, we got to look at the fact of it being neuro, because neuro tells us nerve. Peptide tells us what? Amino acids, because that's the bond between amino acids. So the products are neuropeptides, and these are going to be epinephrine, norepinephrine. These will combine on receptors in the membrane that accept these products. Does So they are termed adrenergic membrane-bound receptors. This means their function occurs by way of the G protein complex. So there will be a receptor in the cell that can accept these products. When it accepts it, it will begin to affect the G protein complex. The G protein complex goes on to affect other cycles or other processes within the cell. When a hormone functions in this fashion, where it has to attach to a receptor in the membrane, their effects tend to be short-lived. They don't tend to last for days and days and days, okay? They usually have a short time frame. Body usually metabolizes them rather quickly, and they get taken care of by the body, recycled and sent for waste. Epinephrine. What's the difference between epinephrine and norepinephrine?
One's a stimulating hormone, the other one's
They're both going to stimulate because they're both associated with the sympathetic nervous system.
just one made you sleepy and one not.
Only thing sympathetic will do is wake you up. Makes you ready for fight or flight. Why are they related? They're very closely related. We've heard of them, right?
I thought one countered the other a little bit.
Now, here's what's going to happen. Norepinephrine is the precursor to epinephrine. Okay? So nor is the precursor to epi. With epinephrine, epinephrine is strictly from the medulla of the adrenal gland. The norepinephrine mostly comes from that fiber coming to the adrenal gland, the medulla. Okay, so if we look at the medulla, we look at the medulla of the adrenal gland. I said that it synapses directly with a fiber from the sympathetic nervous system. Is that correct? So in this medulla, I have cells, but then I have I have my post fiber, okay, that comes in and synapses directly on that cell. So if the norepinephrine comes mostly from this fiber, that tells me that it's coming from the making or in the product of that fiber. Once I synapse on the cell directly in the adrenal gland, The only thing that can be produced from that cell of the adrenal gland is the epi. So norepinephrine is the precursor to epinephrine.
So it's made within that fiber?
Well, now remember, this fiber is going to have a synapse at this end,
Yeah.
okay? We're going to have a cell body. And when we have that cell body makes a product. In this case, for this fiber, this product is NOR.
So would norm kind of be like a presynaptic hormone?
You can think of it that way, yes. So when it gets to the synapse here, and the synapse occurs at the cell, that's going to prompt the cell to make the epi. So norepi is the precursor to the epi. Nor comes from the sympathetic nerve fiber, and epi from the cell of the adrenal medulla. For epinephrine, when that gets produced, okay, the effects, the only thing we can find it coming from is what's getting produced in that medulla. Now, norepinephrine, because that is traveling along that sympathetic fiber, okay, there can be a control from the sympathetic nervous system, okay? So there can, that product can be controlled based on synapses that will occur. But anything that gets produced by those cells in the adrenal medulla, the only thing that we can see is epinephrine. The effects of epinephrine, now remember, sympathetic. Sympathetic gets us ready for fight or flight. If we're going to get ready for fight or flight, we need energy. So it's going to increase levels of glucose in the blood because we need to get it to the cells of the body that are going to use it. Skeletal muscle, for example. Okay? It can increase the breakdown of fat in adipose tissue. Because if the first thing we want to do is glucose, the second way that the body will get energy is to break down the lipids. The effects of epinephrine dilate the blood vessels in the skeletal muscles and the cardiac muscles, which means we're delivering the glucose to those muscle cells so that they can be utilized to make ATP in the process of cellular respiration. And if I can produce ATP, I'm producing energy for those cells. Take a break, be back at 12:30.